I think a gentleman was asking about, he called in, and he never got an answer with regards to his driver's license. You guys shipped it off, and so I was kind of like having a sidebar on that. And so I just wanted to verbalize this. If you are considering getting a driver's license or renewing a driver's license, it's a wonderful thing because, from my perspective, I don't have a driver's license, I don't have a Social Security card, and I don't have a birth certificate. God didn't give me any of those, and my mother and father didn't either. There is this organization of people that surrounded my family at the time I was born that offered gifts, kind of like the Magi coming to the stable of Jesus, bringing gifts. And instead of gold, frankincense, and myrrh, they brought me a birth certificate, and they brought me a Social Security card, and they brought me a driver's license. Now, little did I know what those things meant, because I had no idea who these strangers were from a faraway land, but they brought them to me and gave.
So they believe that they were giving you a benefit, and yet you believe that you can at times benefit by that benefit. It is to your best interest to use those gifts, and then other times to use those gifts would actually be self-destructive, you're saying.
Hey, Carl, I got cut off. So what I was trying to say, for those ladies and gentlemen that are considering getting a driver's license or renewing one, please keep in mind that the name on the card is not you, all right? That you have the distinct privilege and obligation, if you will, to act as the agent for the principal who's named on the card. Now, under the law of agency, an agent is never liable for the actions of a principal. Now, I know this personally because for the past 30 years, I have been an agent for several companies. And when shit hits the fan, guess what? I don't get sued. The principal does. All right. So I can speak to that from a commercial, professional kind of way.
Great.
So you can take that to the bank.
Great, but I'm saying the agent can't be sued, but if he operates outside of his agreement between him and the principal, he can be sued. The principal could turn around and sue the agent for acting outside of his.
Right. Yeah, that is true. But considering the fact that the principal is a person who you are the sole operator of, and nobody else can operate it except for you, it's really unlikely that you're going to sue yourself. All right? It's really, really unlikely. Unless you've lost your mind completely.
What happens if they could establish in court that you relinquish certain rights for certain obligations, and they're actually coming in as a power of attorney over you then?
They would be coming in as power of attorney over your principal, not over you. And they would be saying that you were a naughty boy in the operation of your principal. No different than if you had started a company called Karl Lentz, Inc. And your stockholders got pissed off because you didn't handle it properly and you stole money or you were Bernie Madoff or something, you know. If you did some horrible, heinous thing, you know, that undermined the corporation, right? So as long as you operate your little tiny entity person in honor and you don't do anything to hurt anybody with it, then nobody has a claim or nobody has justification to jump in as power of attorney. Plus, here's the other bonus, as the sole authorized representative of your fictional person, you have the ability to fire all other trustees or alleged trustees or alleged claimants that want to operate that person's name.
But who's the
you can fire? Yeah, so you can just go there and fire them all and appoint yourself as anything. Or heck, gosh darn it, Carl, I could appoint you as my trustee for my name, and you could appoint me as trustee for your name, and we could even have arm's length, discrepancy on that, so that nobody could complain that it was an inside job, you know, and on and on and on. I mean, this is, if anybody's opened up their own little small business and had any time at all on the job, you can kind of start to see how easy this stuff is to work with. Now, let's go back to the driver's license really quickly because I want to explain this before I get cut off again. On the bottom of your driver's license application, when you get done with all this stuff, on the paper, you put the word by, capital B, small y, the colon, like not the colon in your stomach, but the two dots, the colon, all right? And then you sign your name. And then you put a comma. And then I recommend, if you don't know what you're doing, write the word agent or write the letters A/R to represent authorized representative. If you're more advanced, we can talk about other jobs you can have. But the most important thing is the word by, the colon, your signature, comma, and some title. All right? Now, once you've done that on all the paperwork, if you have a camera phone, take a photograph of that document, the paper document, before you hand it back to the lady, because they will never, ever, ever give you a copy of it. All right? Now that you've done that, you go through the process, you get your driver's license, and in Illinois, they have you once again sign your name on this little digital thing with a digital pen, like at the credit card station at the grocery store. And so you have to do it again by colon, your name, comma, and your title. And that is how it is recorded in all the state documents for me, everywhere, plus my thing, plus my driver's license, plus my state ID. It's recorded just like that everywhere. Okay? So the Secretary of State of Illinois has acknowledged the fact that I am not the name on the document. I am the agent for the name on the document. Otherwise, it could not exist in that fashion. Do you understand the power of that? Do you understand I've gone to court, presented all this information, and walked out, handing him a birth certificate and saying, here's your principal, I'm the agent, leave me alone, and walked out and won. All right?
That's great, Greg. What I'm thinking of, we're going to do UCC thing tonight. We're going to do what you just said, I said earlier, foreign judgments, and then you are trying to say you are going to show the different relationship between trustee and beneficiary through the Secretary of State's office and the county court's office. So there you go.
Right.
There's three shows right there we could do just by talking tonight. I can see where the interest lies in this stuff.
But anyway, guys, hey, listen, man. One thing that we always want to stress to you, never hold court at the roadside. Never hold court at the roadside. Do not try to impress the constable with your knowledge. Be humble and be kind and be gentle. Give him all the paperwork. Make him happy so he goes home for his dinner with his wife and kids. And you can go talk to the judge and say, dear sir, I believe that one of your officers made an error. He mistook me for this man on this piece of paper. You know, do not bother the police.
Like I said, Greg, that's a good way to do it. That's what we'll do one night. One night, if you folks have an interest, we'll do foreign judgments. We'll do UCC. We'll do working through your Secretary of State in your county recorder's office. And then what was the last thing you just said now, Greg?
Do not hold court on the side of the road.
Yeah, we'll show you how to handle a roadside stop. Yeah, there you go.
Exactly. How to walk away from a roadside stop with everybody happy.
Yeah, exactly. And not like Dean Clifford grabbing everybody and throwing them around and make the poor policeman cry, because that policeman's got a mom or two and a wife and kids, so we got to respect we believe he's doing his job, and we believe he's a good kid, because that's why he became a cop. He didn't become a cop to, maybe he did or maybe he didn't, but I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt that he wanted to do it like Andy Griffith wanted to do it to save him.
There's no 17-year-old kid out there going, wow, I could go to work for the city or the state and collect revenue.
Right. like I said, there could be an Andy Griffith mentality kind of cop out there, and you could have a Barney Fife standing right next to him who just wants to break your balls. And because he's a little clown, he just wants to harass you to no end. So you got to give him the benefit of the doubt. You're going to run into a nice Andy Griffith kind of guy, and you're going to run into a Barney. But when you run into Andy, you be nice, and good things will happen. You run into Barney, and you be nice, good things are going to happen. You be a prick to Andy, Andy's going to bust your head open. If you be a prick to Barney, your head's going to be busted open. So there's no reason to do anything other than be nice. Don't conduct court on the side of the highway except for being courteous and being courteous. And allow them to stick their foot in their mouth. Like I said, I'm taping the episode of Mark Stevens and me now. And I come on a Mark Stevens show in about an hour, like probably about 4 o'clock Eastern time. And I think he lets me talk for half an hour, maybe 40 minutes on his show, which is pretty good. And he was trying to break my, he was trying to break my beliefs. And I'm trying to get the podcast to show you folks that when he was during commercial breaks, he got really ugly with me. And I just stayed courteous with him the whole entire time, even during the commercial breaks. And his little buddy, whoever JT is, starts jumping up and down like a little monkey during the commercial breaks, trying to say all kinds of nonsense to me. And I'm just more than courteous. And that's what I'm trying to do on these calls. I'm trying to say nothing but more than courteous. I let that Mr. Destry talk. Boy, that was some interesting stuff, about railroads. They claiming all property, land. And that's fine, man. I love it. That's cool. I'd still like to see Mr. Railroad, not Mr. Destry. I'd like to see a railroad company come in open court under oath of affirmation, put their hand on the Bible, and claim my land is his. I'd love to see that. So, like I said, like my dad said, I'm a little ended with that. It's like my dad was German, couldn't read or write English. He was basically in a reform school his whole life. Basically, he had a choice going to a federal penitentiary or going into the Navy. He decided that when he was in the Navy, he got in trouble and had the option of going to Leavenworth or marrying my mom. So my dad was a really hardcore, blue-collar guy. Couldn't read or write, do anything. So what he did teach me is like kind of what Greg said. Keep him smiling. He did not know anything about endorphins. He didn't know anything about adrenaline. But he says, when you're smiling and happy, it makes the opponent keep his guard down. It keeps them susceptible to attack. And they don't know how to take your coming at them with a smile on your face. They don't know what the hell is your game plan. Don't tip your card. They, my dad would say, when some guys aren't crack or on a PCT, you can hit him with a baseball bat, he doesn't feel it. So keep him smiling, keep him laughing, and keep their guard down. They'll make a lot of mistakes.